Today we have a restorative practice. So restorative yoga, we hold poses for a lot longer than we would in our normal like vinyasa and hatha classes. And the great thing about restorative yoga is that it helps calm the nervous system, quietens the mind, but also helps us release any muscular tension. Now, because we're going to hold poses for a little bit longer than we normally would, I want you to make sure that you're nice and warm, that you've got a few layers on, that you're nice and comfortable. Also make sure that you've got a blanket in case you do get cold, you can just wrap yourself up. If you've got yoga blocks, then you'll need 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have any of those at home, then you need 2 blankets or 2 cushions, or you can use 2 towels that you've rolled up. So blankets and towels need to be rolled up like this. If you've got a cushion, just have that nearby. And we're actually going to have, just to make our lives a little bit easier, you're going to take 1 cushion, blanket, or whatever you're going to use today, either side of you on your yoga mat. And then from here, you're just going to slowly lie down onto the mat. Now just make sure your shoulders are away from the ears, your lower back is being pressed down into the ground. Our first pose that we're going to come in today is tree pose. So I want you to send your left leg out straight, heel on the floor. Make sure that your prop is nearby. And what I want you to do is just allow your right knee to fall out to the side. If your knee doesn't quite touch the floor, this is where you have the option to maybe use that prop and just place it underneath the leg. So the prop's are a really good way of getting feedback, as in it allows the body to kind of know that that's where it needs to press and open into. If you get any pulling sensation across the front of your knee, I want you to slide your foot a little bit further away from you, just increase the angle of that knee joint. And we're just going to hold it here. So maybe have your eyes closed, just so you can bring your focus a little bit more inwards. And first of all, just notice maybe if there's any gripping or tensing in the muscles. I want you to really utilize that support underneath the right leg and allow the full weight of the leg to be supported by whatever you're using. Use your inhales and exhales to breathe into those areas that feel a little bit more restrictive. We try and switch the muscles off, get a little bit deeper into the tendons, the ligaments. As you breathe, keep the inhale and exhale nice and steady. Allow the face to soften, the jaw to relax. If any thoughts or distractions come into your mind at all, just allow them to pass, allow them to fade into the background. Now's not the time. As you breathe, try and breathe in and out the nose. As you inhale, breathe into every corner of the body. As you exhale, just allow your body weight to soften, to be fully supported. Just got 3 more breaths here. So really try and utilize those exhales. See if you can allow a little bit more gripping or tensing to ease as you breathe. After your next exhale, you're going to take your hand to the outside of the right thigh. You're slowly going to pick the leg up, slide the right leg out. You're just going to notice any difference from one side to the other. When you're ready, you're going to bend the left leg, bring the foot in, allow the knee to fall out to the side. Again, use the props, really allow yourself to be supported. Just check and make sure the shoulders haven't crept up towards the ears. Make any final adjustments. You want to try and maintain nice and still. Once you've found that position, you're then just going to bring your focus back to your breath. And you might notice that maybe one side you can feel it a little bit more in the hip, maybe the tightness is in the glute on the other side. Just notice where you hold those imbalances. We're not here to judge or cast any sort of negative thoughts on the body at all. So try not to force yourself, your sides to match. Just take it for what it is. And again, really utilize your inhales and your exhales. As you inhale, feel the belly, the chest rise, and with every exhale, allow your muscles, the body to ease and soften. If you're finding today that there's quite a lot of dialogue in your mind at all, what I want you to do is count your inhales and exhale. So one inhale and exhale would be 1. You continue to count all the way up to 10. If at any point that you lose track of your counting, you're just going to start back up at 1. And when you make it to 10, again, you're just going to start the whole process again, counting from 1 all the way up. Allow the weight of the left leg to be fully supported. You notice that you're still gripping, you're still holding back, then I really want you to use your exhales to breathe into the glutes, the hips, the legs. Really try and allow your full body weight to go here. After your next exhale, you're slowly going to use your left hand, bring the knee up, and then slide the left leg out. Again, take a moment or two just to notice how the body feels. So next we're going to come into our reclining cobbler. So you're going to have both legs bent, soles of the feet to the floor, and you're just going to allow your knees to fall out to the side. So it's like double tree, basically. Move the props if you need to. Make sure the legs feel supported. If you get a pulling sensation across the front of the knees, I want you to slide your feet further away from the body. Restorative yoga isn't about coming into the big impressive poses, it's really about being intuitive and listening to what your body's needs are. It's a chance for you to really slow down, take a moment to yourself to just connect to your breath. Try and keep that quality of the breath as you breathe deep into the belly. I'm just going to hold it here for another 8 breaths. Remember, if the mind keeps wandering, just bring it back to your breath. Maybe even count your inhales and exhales. After your next exhale, you're going to take your hands to the outside of the thighs. Slowly bring the knees together. And you're going to bring the knees into the chest. And you're just going to rock yourself from side to side. So it's going to be nice and slow. It doesn't have to be a big movement at all. Keep your lower back in contact with the floor. So we just rock a little bit from side to side. You're then going to come back to center, soles of the feet to the floor. We're going to come up into our legs up pose. So you're going to take one of your blankets or cushions, you're going to lift your bum up, and you want to place it to the lower back. So your sacrum is being supported. From here, hands can rest wherever feels comfortable. We're just going to kick the legs up towards the sky. So there should be no effort in having your legs in this position. Where we've got our prop, just allows us to keep the hips elevated without much effort. And it's up to you whether you want the toes pointed towards your face or up towards the sky. We're just going to hold it here for 10 breaths. So this is a really good way of just draining the lymphatic system. Takes any tension away from the legs. So again, just make sure the shoulders are heavy away from the ears. Soften the brow as you relax your face. If the hamstrings feel a little bit tight, you can always have a little bit more of a bend in the legs, that's fine. Just listen to the body, it will guide you to what it needs. After your next exhale, just slowly bend the legs, soles of the feet to the floor. I want you to just squeeze your glutes as you lift the hips up. Just take the prop from underneath you and then lower your back all the way back down to the ground. We're in no hurry whatsoever, but when you're ready, you're just going to roll over to your right hand side. Keep the head and shoulders down on the ground. We're just going to relax it here for 2 breaths. Just allow the weight of the head to still be supported. And then using your hands, you're slowly going to press yourself back up. You're going to come up into a seated position. We're going to come into our chest opener. Now, if you are using a yoga block, sometimes this can be a little bit uncomfortable. So maybe use a blanket or something over the top of it just to get rid of that harsh edge, especially if you're using a cork block. You're going to take your blanket. If you've got a cushion, I want you to try and fold it in half so that you've got a little bit more elevation. And then what we're going to do is have the legs bent. And you want to peel your upper body down, and you want to have the top of the blanket, the towel or the bolster to be underneath the shoulder blades, so that when you lower yourself down, your armpits are kind of free from whatever's beneath you. Head and shoulders are down on the ground. So it's just the line of the top of the prop that you're using is in line with the bottom of the shoulder blades. Now, if you've lowered down and you don't feel like you're getting much elevation in your chest, then what you can do is roll your 2 blankets or towels together just to give you a little bit more height. So make sure that this is a position that feels comfortable. You want your lower back to be down on the ground. So it's a little bit of trial and error, but your shoulders are relaxing down on the ground. Now, if the curvature of your spine or you've got quite tight in the upper body and your head doesn't touch the floor, then use a yoga block or cushion. Just pad the back of the head so that you're not sort of straining through the front of the neck. Arms are resting alongside you. You can either have the legs bent and allow the knees to collapse in, or you can have the legs out straight, heels on the floor. So this is just a really good pose to undo any rounding, any forward flexion of the body. Our breathing can affect our posture. So sometimes when we've got poor posture, when we're rounded forward, it can affect our breathing. And equally, if we breathe quite shallow, it can cause the shoulders to round forward. So this is just a really good way of opening through the chest, breathing into the ribs, the intercostal muscles. So feel the back of the head being supported. Feel the shoulders heavy on the floor. Feel that prop lifted in the chest. The bum, the legs, nice and heavy. Again, try and quieten the mind. It's impossible to completely clear the mind of thoughts and distractions, but this is just an opportunity for you to not get involved in any dialogue. Just allow them to fade away. We can pick them up at a later time. Two more breaths here. And then after that next exhale, if your legs are out straight, you can have the legs bent, soles of the feet to the floor. Again, we're going to roll onto that right hand side. Just move the prop behind you. Just rest with your head down on the ground as we hold it here for another 2 breaths. Nice and slowly, there's no rush whatsoever. You're going to just press yourself back up and we're going to come into a seated position, however feels comfortable. Lift the spine nice and tall. As you next inhale, circle the arms up and ahead. As you exhale, lower. And again, reach up tall, open through the sides. Last time, bring the hands together all the way down to heart center. I hope that's created a little bit of a moment of calm for you. I hope to see you soon.